First with breaking news. First with new information. Plus, your first alert forecast. 19 News starts now.
Well, go ahead. Tell me if you've heard this one before. There is quarterback drama surrounding the Cleveland Browns. Good afternoon, everyone. Thanks for joining us. I'm Brian Duffy.
And I'm Nicole Versansky. Sounds familiar, right? Deshaun Watson has been named the Browns starting quarterback. And of course, this all comes a few days after he called Browns fans disrespectful for booing him. Today, he has apologized for that.
He has. Shedeur Sanders is the backup, and his fans not happy. They're ripping the organization for that decision.
Zach Keenan has been following all of this today. Zach, our heads are spinning.
Yeah, Brian and Nicole, it's a similar sentiment here around Berea. Confusion. Todd Monken's decision to name Deshaun Watson as the Browns starting quarterback is not only confusing, but unexpected when you consider not only the post-game comments that he made Saturday, but especially when you consider his play as a whole throughout the entire preseason. It was poor. Now, Todd Monken insists that there was not a single performance that put Watson over the top, but instead, everything he had seen this preseason. The positives of Watson's preseason performances were few and far between. And of course, the post-game comments. After the Bills game, Deshaun took out his frustrations after hearing fans boo him, saying he felt he's deserved more based on the commitment he's made to being healthy for this team and contributions to the community. Head coach Todd Monken defended the sentiment behind Watson's comments, but offered a refreshing take for fans, saying he believes that the dog pound has a right to their opinions when players don't play up to their standards.
One side, I 100% understand where Deshaun is coming from, but ultimately, we're pros. I mean, we got to put on a good product, and we got to play. You got to pull your big boy pants up and let's go play.
We talked about it. We mentioned it, and I just felt like, again, in that moment, as a human, as my emotions going on, I just, felt what was on my heart.
Now, we won't see Deshaun or Shedeur Sanders play in the preseason finale Thursday night against New England. So the next time we see Deshaun Watson sling it will be the Week 1 opener at Jacksonville. Live in Berea, Zach Keenan, 19 News.
All right, Zach, thank you. We do have a poll for you. We want to know your opinion on Cleveland19.com. Do you agree with the Browns' decision to name Watson as the starting QB?
Yeah, blowout city here. Not going good for the Browns in this decision. Basically 90-10 that people do not agree, 89-11. People do not agree that Deshaun Watson should be the starting quarterback of this team. You can take part in our online poll on the homepage of Cleveland19.com.
Now your 19 First Alert forecast. Certified most accurate since 2004.
All right, we take a look outside at Conneaut, where there's still some rough water. We've had some kite surfers. We've got some clouds. And if you're looking off in the distance, a little almost sheets of rain. There's a couple very light showers, lake effect driven, that have popped up yet again. Most of us are dry and will stay that way through this evening. Temperatures comfortably in the 70s right now, except for Ashtabula in the mid-60s, where that batch of thicker clouds is, especially from Cleveland eastward. And right now you're seeing a couple of these lake effect showers that are moving towards Ashtabula County. This is where we can expect off and on activity through this evening and overnight, but really most of us will stay dry, and we will see those temperatures finally dropping and the wind finally lessening overnight. In fact, a much lighter to even calm wind is expected, and that will allow our temperatures to drop to the 50s as we start the day tomorrow. But after that, temperatures start to climb as we head through the middle of this week. We'll be back in the 80s on Wednesday. Our next storm risk is on Thursday. I'll talk about that because, of course, it is when the Browns will have their final preseason home game, and then we're turning warmer into next week. In fact, we're not maybe done with summer just yet. We'll talk about it as well with the First Alert 7-Day coming up in just a bit.
Well, nearly 400 Cleveland Public Library workers were just minutes from walking off the job today. Last-minute deal put the strike on hold, but this is not over just yet. 19 News reporter Noel Williams has our story.
Union members with the Cleveland Public Library packed away items like tables and signs outside of the library downtown Cleveland. but they are ready to make their presence known if necessary. A strike was planned for New Monday at the library as contract negotiations dragged on. However, about 30 minutes before the deadline, a tentative agreement was reached. Members plan to vote on the deal Wednesday. If employees vote it down, they plan to strike again.
I cannot share the details of the tentative agreement until members have had an opportunity to review the agreement themselves and vote. I can say, though, that the changes are meaningful changes.
Vanessa D'Alessandro is the regional director with SEIU 1199. That's the union representing nearly 400 library employees over pay and benefits like insurance. Union members previously told 19 News some employees are making as low as $17 an hour. As of Saturday, the union wanted a 10% raise across the board. That increase would cover 2026 through 2028. In a previous press release, library officials stated that they offered a contract proposal that includes a 5% increase in the first year and 11% total wage increase over the life of the contract. However, union employees say those numbers were misleading and unfair. Library CEO and Executive Director Felton Thomas Jr., who has been called out by the union for making a high salary while some employees are making so little, shared a statement that reads in part, quote, "We are proud to have reached an agreement that allows the library to continue providing its 5-star service to the community." In downtown Cleveland, Noel Williams, 19 News.
Well, we have some new information now out of Columbiana County. San Francisco 49ers owner John Jed York has been arrested for engaging in prostitution Sunday in East Palestine. Jed York pleaded no contest, found guilty of 2 lesser misdemeanors, possessing criminal tools and disorderly conduct. A judge sentenced him to 2 days in the Columbiana jail, ordered him to pay a $1,150 fine. Records show a cell phone was taken and returned to York, as well as $160, which will be forfeited to the Mahoning Valley Human Trafficking Task Force.
The high-profile murder trial of Lindsay Clancy is nearing closing arguments. The defense rested its case on Friday, prosecutors calling more rebuttal witnesses today. The Massachusetts mother has pleaded not guilty in the case. Her lawyer argues she was suffering from postpartum psychosis when she killed her 3 children back in 2023, and she should not, they say, be held criminally responsible. Prosecutors maintain her actions were intentional. Jared Hill reports from New York.
As I said, she was in a serious psychiatric state.
Postpartum psychosis at the center of aggressive questioning from Lindsay Clancy's defense attorney to psychiatrist Dr. Avram Mack, a rebuttal expert for the prosecution.
I am asking you about Lindsay Clancy, the young lady that's sitting right here that you're testifying against in front of this jury, telling this jury that she was responsible for the death of her children. You with me?
That illness has not been refined. It's not something that we in psychiatry, at least as far as I'm aware, can talk about as an illness where we understand its typical course.
Both Dr. Mack and Dr. Kirk Heilbrunn say they evaluated Clancy together in April. Heilbrunn told jurors she was suffering from bipolar II disorder.
I just did not see signs that were clearly manic episodes.
When pressed further, Dr. Heilbrunn stated he believed Clancy's medications worsened her mental state.
It was making it worse and keeping her from sleeping.
Clancy has pleaded not guilty in the 2023 deaths of her 3 young children. She does not deny killing them, but her lawyers argue she was overmedicated and suffering severe postpartum psychosis.
This case comes down to what was in Lindsay Clancy's mind. Was she able to understand that what she was doing was wrong or criminal?
Prosecutors maintain she intentionally planned the killings and should be held responsible.
The instructions mandate that the burden of proof falls exclusively on the state to prove criminal responsibility.
Closing arguments could come as early as Tuesday. Jared Hill, CBS News.
The prosecution is expected to call at least one more rebuttal witness to the stand.
19 traffic alert, ODOT warning drivers about a long-term ramp closure on the west side starting 1 week from today. The I-90 eastbound exit to West Boulevard will be shut down for about 60 days for ramp reconstruction. If you normally use that exit, you'll need to detour by getting off at West 117th Street, and you're going to have to follow Lorraine to get back to West Boulevard. Plan extra time if you drive that stretch of 90. Social media reaction from fans was basically instant with the announcement that Deshaun Watson will be the Browns starter in Jacksonville.
It was overwhelmingly not positive, we'll say, as you might guess. Dan DeRose has been going through the comments and is here with, well, what we can say on TV, I suppose you could say.
We're not looking for an FCC fine. I'm not looking to lose my job, so that's going to dictate the comments we can use. A lot of comments came in instantly. I was fairly surprised by this. We've all heard of GV Art. They have the really cool T-shirts. They've got their finger on the pulse of all things Cleveland sports. Well, here was their reply just about an after the announcement. After today's QB news, it's finally time we show our frustration. The Browns have somehow managed to ruin what is always the most exciting time of our season. We love this young roster, but year after year, us fans deserve better. Available online right now. Here's the new T-shirt for the season. Rough start to the season. Cleveland, we've got the brownie with a bag over his head. Underneath it says orange and brown bagging it since 1999. Not mincing words, GV Art. Let's get to some other comments. How about Mike says, hey, they're paying him millions. He ain't going to ride the bench, and he'll be injured by week 6. We're not hoping for any injuries. Jeff says, you know what? It's okay to stop watching the Browns. You know, the Indians Guardians were a high payroll, pennant-winning team until the Browns came back and stole their thunder despite being perpetually awful. They're in the wild card chase and made several trades this year to get better. They've won 4 games in a row and have a 10-game homestand starting this weekend. A lot of people saying pay attention to the Guardians instead. Losing already and the season hasn't even started, Sanders should request a trade and do somewhere else and go somewhere else. That from Matt DeFalla. A lot of dissension out there, not very many positive comments.
Well, certainly a lot of people are talking about this story. Coming up at 4:30, the reaction across the country, and we still have that poll. You can weigh in on your thoughts on this decision. Yes or no? Do you like it? That poll is available at cleveland19.com.
19 Newsmakers streams tonight at 6:30. Interesting story in the debate over closing Burke Lakefront Airport. Have you heard about Argonaut? It's a program affiliated with the Cleveland schools that immerses students who are interested in an aeronautical or maritime course of study. Argonaut CEO Drew Ferguson believes that closing the airport would be devastating to these students.
It has to be an intense, immersive experience. If you just train a kid for a job and they don't have passion, they might not be happy, they might not last that long.
Right.
If you start with passion and you get someone to fall in love with it and, to your point, experience it, feel it, like the football player amongst football players, that is where we can teach success, we can develop passion and have kids go into this industry happy, excited, and knowing that they'll be successful.
All right, so don't miss my entire conversation with Captain Andrew Ferguson from Argonaut coming up at 6:30, minutes after the 6 o'clock show on 19 Newsmakers, streaming every Monday at 6:30 on 19 News Plus. Deshaun Watson has been named the Browns' starting quarterback. He'll take the first snaps on September 13th in Jacksonville against the Jaguars. Today, after being named the starter, he did apologize for calling Browns fans disrespectful after they booed him loudly during the Browns' preseason game with the Bills on Saturday. That booing has been nonstop for years now and stems from Watson having been sued by multiple women for alleged sexual misconduct, and that he simply has not lived up to the $300+ million contract that he signed.
In Fairview Park, teachers are back at the negotiating table as we speak. Talks between the Education Association and the school board stalled over a month ago. The teacher's contract expired on June 30th. The union says the community support has been overwhelming. More than 250 families have put yard signs in their yards backing educators.
Lakewood parents are protesting the district's plan to repurpose one of its elementary schools. They're heading to the board meeting there tonight. The district did settle a lawsuit earlier this month after parents claimed open meeting laws had been violated. The district's plan is to make Lincoln Elementary into an early learning center. Now, some parents argue it hurts neighborhood schools and doesn't save the district any money.
Traffic is moving once again on I-77 north at White Pond Drive in Akron. After this accident, all lanes were closed for about an hour after this crash. ODOT cameras showed one car was pretty badly damaged. It also showed another car kind of off the side of the road into a ditch there. We're working to find out what led up to this crash, as well as that other crash here in the ditch, and also if anyone was hurt.
Well, a young pilot is really making headlines for executing an incredible water landing. This was in the Atlantic Ocean. Witnesses captured the moment Faith Tankley brought a twin-engine Piper down in the ocean Saturday, narrowly missing a crowded beach in Boca Raton, Florida.
The 23-year-old was headed to the Bahamas to pick up her parents when she began experiencing mechanical and gear issues.
We saw it go in the water, and immediately he hopped on the radio to call the Coast Guard and book a PD, and I was getting out extra life jackets and our medical equipment.
Shocking for everybody else, but the pilot really executed a perfect water landing.
Tankley was the only person on board and was not hurt. She released a statement saying, in part, "I am incredibly fortunate and relieved to share that I was able to swim away from this incident." Breaking at this hour, the murder trial of Duane Davis continues in Las Vegas. Davis is accused of planning the murder of rapper Tupac Shakur nearly 30 years ago now. Today, a major witness took the stand, filmmaker Michael Dorsey. He produced the documentary investigating Tupac's murder. On the stand, he talked about his investigative work and interviews related to the crime. Part of the prosecution's defense is Davis admitted to planning the murder in a documentary and interviews in a published memoir. Davis has pleaded not guilty.
So also breaking at this hour, Alabama's Attorney General has just subpoenaed tech giant OpenAI over a hacking incident. The company says its AI agents escaped a test environment in July, hacked into the online platform Hugging Face. The state of Alabama is investigating if the company violated consumer protection laws. In their subpoena, the state's asking for safety protocols, behavior data, and details of any damages. Over a dozen other states are conducting their own investigation into this incident. Now let's get back to the Browns and today's decision that nobody seems to like. It's 90-10 in our poll against this. Deshaun Watson gets the starting job, and Mark Schwab now
is here with some national reaction. Hey, Mark?
I have not voted in the 90-10 poll. Not yet, anyway. It's not any better than the Cleveland reaction here, to be honest, guys. I think Watson blew any goodwill away, and there wasn't much. He blew that away on Saturday when he ripped those disrespectful fans for booing him. We haven't found really anyone who likes this move a whole lot or thinks it's a fantastic idea.
I'm being dead serious when I say this. Browns fans should not go to games.
I agree with that.
I truly feel awful for that fan base. To watch that press conference and to hear him say, I get more love in road games, what would you expect to love to come from?
Off the field, it's been terrible. On the field, it's been terrible. No one wants this. No one wants Deshaun. It's absurd. I don't even think he should be on the roster. I don't even think he wants to be on the roster. It was the worst trade in history. You're only making it worse by starting him.
I've represented about 150 quarterbacks, and including Hall of Famers like Troy Aikman, Warren Moon, and Steve Young. They all got booed. That probably is not what I would have recommended as a response. You just don't reference it and, go back and play.
All right, so a lot of people have asked us, why don't they just cut this guy? He already counts $40 million on the cap this year. If they cut him, next year's cap gets hit like up to $86 million, the highest in NFL history. It's actually cheaper to keep him on the team. So Deshaun Watson's not going anywhere. Not right now. Not this year. Reporting live, Mark Schwab, 19 News.
All right, so let's check the poll again. We mentioned this once, and let's see where we're at this point. Is they named Deshaun Watson the starting quarterback?
88% of our viewers, those who voted, saying no, they're not agreeing with this decision. 12% of you say you agree with the decision. You can take part in the polls on the homepage of Cleveland19.com, and you can bet there are going to be some strong opinions tomorrow when we let our 19 sports team off the leash to talk about this decision. You can find the latest episode of our podcast tomorrow at 6:30, streaming on 19 News Plus or wherever you get your podcasts.
Now your 19 First Alert forecast, certified most accurate since 2004.
Looking outside again at Conneaut, finally some proof. There's a kite surfer out there taking advantage of still the pretty breezy conditions. More of an overcast sky here, and radar's been showing a few very light showers nearby. But the biggest story, of course, is just the breeze and the choppier waters. Only 65 at the nearby site in Ashtabula. Lower 70s elsewhere, even mid 70s out to Sandusky, where there's a bit more sunshine the farther south and west you are. The thicker clouds are currently to the east, and there's another batch of thicker cloud cover coming in that could have spread a little bit further west as well. So with these thicker clouds could come maybe a brief shower. Most of that has been in Ashtabula County, and I know it's not much. We're not looking at a repeat of yesterday evening where we saw some of those heavier storms. So if you see a few raindrops, it's all lake effect driven. Otherwise, most of us are dry through this evening. It'll be quieting down wind-wise overnight. A few clouds out there, and temperatures will end up in the 50s as we start the day tomorrow. Parma view looks nice right now. Downtown Cleveland out there in the distance. We'll talk about our next storm risk on Thursday, plus temperatures that sort of go up and down over the next few days, all coming up in just a little bit.
Well, the Hawk Fire in the northern foothills of Reno, Nevada exploded over the weekend. 42,000 people in the evacuation zone were told to leave their homes. And another 45,000 in nearby areas are being warned they may be next. The blaze is still 0% contained. CBS's Jason Allen is in Reno with the latest.
A helicopter dropped water on the Hawk Fire as crews near Reno, Nevada worked to slow the blaze. What started as a small fire Saturday grew uncontrollably in the first 24 hours.
Yeah, the fires jumped the road and all structures over there are gone.
Now more than 1,000 first responders are on scene as it burns through homes and vehicles.
Our weather conditions continue to be challenging, hot, dry, windy, and no end in sight anytime soon.
Incident Commander Shane Ackerson said the fire was human caused and an investigation is underway.
We can confirm that we have 3 civilian injuries as well as 3 responder injuries as well.
Just outside the evacuation zone, people have parked their cars up and down the highway. Some of them have been out of their homes now for 2 nights, and they're waiting here, anxious to get back in and see if their properties are safe.
And I've seen fires up there before, and you can tell when you got to evacuate. This one we knew.
Greg Alston and his dogs Jax and Lily have been sleeping in his truck after hastily packing up.
Armful of shirts and pants.
Yep, and room for the dogs.
And room for the dogs, and that's about it.
And there's Lily.
With hotels in the area booked up, hundreds of people are staying at the convention center turned shelter.
I just gonna take it day by day. I really don't know, but I'm just gonna pray and ask God.
Officials say they don't expect to let people back into their homes anytime soon due to the fire's unpredictability. Jason Allen, CBS News in Reno, Nevada.
Schools across the county are closed today to keep roads clear for evacuation and emergency vehicles. More dry air, strong winds are expected in Reno throughout the week.